Hello guys, we want to solve another vertical motion, which is the last session. Now, it said a stone is projected vertically upward with a speed of 30 meters per second from the top of a tower of height 50 meters. So that means, let's say this is tower of height 50 meters. Then it's projected vertically upward from there with a velocity. What is velocity? 30 meters per second. Automatically we go and return to the ground. So that the stone is thrown here from here and return to the ground. Now, what they say we should find, say neglect air resistance, determine the maximum height reached from the ground. So that means the maximum height from the ground is what? This height from here to this place. This is the height from the ground. So if we want to calculate the maximum height reached from the ground, I'll first of all calculate the height to get to the maximum. At the maximum v equal to 0, then I will add it to 50. So from the ground is from here to here is already 50. Then from here to here, if I can get my height from here to this place, then I can add it to what? So my maximum height from the ground will now be what? 50 meters plus h. But that is going to be what? The height from the ground level. This is. Now, how do we get that? That is the question. We need to get h. So at the maximum height, v equal to what? 0 meters per second. At this place, v equal to 0 meters per second. 0 meters per second. Then, what again? G is equal to what? What is our G? 10 meters per second square. Is going against gravity. We know that. Is thrown upward with the velocity of what? 30 meters per second. So which formula would we use to calculate V? Now, to calculate what we call the H. So to get H, to get this H, we are going to use what? V squared equal to what? U squared minus 2G what? Now, initial height is what? What is our initial height? You can say initial height is what? 0. Oh, sorry, not initial height 0. Let me know. I don't want to use this height. I can find this height directly as though this body is on the ground level and through here. So let me take it as what? The initial height as 0 minus the final height is what we are looking for. So I'm taking this one as though it's on the ground level, as the starting point, ground level. So that's what I'm taking as 0. Then from here to here is what? The height we are looking for, the final height, which is what? H final. So H initial here from point A, H initial is 0 meter, while H final is equal to what? H that we are looking for. So that's what I'm doing here. Now, why is it minus? Because it's going against gravity now. That's why it's minus sign here. Then, what is our U? U is already what? 30. The one they used to throw it up. So this one, 0 square at that height is equal to what? U square is what? 30 square minus 2 times 10 times h. You understand me? So if I can get this h now, I can add it to what? 50. So what am I going to have now? 900 minus 20h is equal to 0. 0 square 0. So what do you have? You have for 20h is equal to what? 900. If I start by 20, that was what to have what? 45 meter. So our full height now from here to here is now 45 meter. From here to here. Now, if from here to here is 45 and from here to here is 90, so what is the maximum what height above the ground, reach from the ground? Now what? 50 meter plus what? From here to here. If you want to still calculate this h, you can use, let me use shortcut. You can use what? U square over 2g. You can use that formula. You get your answer. Just to get this h, now you can use U square over 2g. I've given a kind of formula to use. From this formula, that's why we got that one. So I would have plus 45. What do you have? Meter. I would have what? 95 what? Meter. So that is solved already. Now number 2 says what? Using the what? The what do you call it? The question above, calculate time of flight. So how do we solve the time of flight now? We are going to what? Use this what? H. Now, time of flight is the time it takes from A to what? To B. So time of flight. Time of flight actually means the total time the body spent in air. So the time it takes to what? From rest to another rest. That's what we call time of flight. So what do we have now as H initial? H initial is what? 50. That means it was initially at this height from the ground. Then H final when it landed is what? 0. Abi? Then what again? We have U to be equal to what? What's our U? U is 30 meter per second. Our G is what? 10 meter per second square. What again do we need? Finish. So we are going to use what? V square equal to U square minus 2G what? H1 minus H0. That is the formula I'm going to use. Why is it minus against gravity? So this one now be what? This one now give us what? No, if I want to use this formula, I will not be able to get time. So let me use what? H1 minus H0 equal to UT minus what? Half GT squared. This one will help me to get time because I'm looking for time of flight. There is no time in this formula, so there is no manipulation about it. So this one will not be what? What is our H0? H final is 0. H0 is 50. Abi? What is the H initial? Times time of flight. This is time of flight. This time from A to B. Time from A to B. And from here to this place. Then minus what? Half times what? AB times what? 10 times what? TAB all square. Oh yeah, let's solve. This one will give us 5. Abi? So 30 TAB minus 5 what? TAB square is equal to what? Minus 50. So let's bring it here. Let's bring this one minus 5t square become what? 5t a to b square minus 30. If we bring this one here, well, minus 30 AB, then minus 50 is equal to 0. So if you solve this one, now what do we have? What do we have? From A to B time. Yes? CAB will now be what? 7.36 seconds and what? Minus 1.36 seconds. So, but time cannot be what? Negative. So our answer to that one is what? Is what? 7.36. So the answer to this one is what? 7.36 what? Second. The last one for this section will now be the last one for this section. Quickly, let's solve. What we do now is they say the ball is dropped from a height of 5 meters. Let me clean this up quickly. So in this case now, a ball is dropped from a height of 5 meters. Look at it. A height of 5 meters onto a concrete floor. So that means it's dropped with the height from here is 5 meters onto a concrete floor. That means ball is dropped from here, dropped from here, yes. What did I say? And rebounds with a speed of 0. What? So it rebounds with a speed of 0.8 times what? The downward speed on arrival. So what is downward speed of arrival? The velocity, final velocity. So times the velocity, that's what you use to rebound. So it rebounds with that. After rebounds, they say what? Find the height of what? Find the height reached from the rebound. So this one, we are looking for this height. So now we have the problem here to solve now. Now let's of us find the what before it rebounds. What is the velocity on arrival with the final velocity of impact? So what we're going to do is what? The height is given as what? 5 meters. G is what? 10 meters per second. Don't forget it's towards gravity. So our G is what? Plus V. Don't forget that. Then when it landed on the ground, what is your U? 0 meters per second. Don't forget U is what? 0 meters per second. What the final velocity? We don't know it. That's what I looking for. So if I want to use, I will use V square equal to what? U square minus plus 2G what? H. And when the body is coming downward, you don't need to use H1 minus H0 again. Anytime you are talking about downward motion, just use your normal h straight up, because here is plus, just use your h. It's only when you are displacing the body the h become displacement, but this one now become height, normal height, when it's coming downward. So you don't need to use h1 minus h0. So you just solve. This one will now be what? This one become what? No, not zero. V is equal to square. Is equal to what our u? 0 square plus what? 2 times what is 10 times what? 5. So what I would have v square equal to what? This one is 0. 2 times 10 is what? 20. Then 100. What is v? Square root of 100 is what? 10 meter per second. That is velocity on arrival. But it now rebounds with what? This one now. To a height. We don't know it. That's the height. So rebounds with what? With u now equal to what? Because the velocity at which you rebound will now take another velocity, which will now be u. To go up, you go up with u. To come down, you come down with v. So v will now be what? U will now be 0.8 times 10. Abi? That will now be 8 meter per second. Now, I haven't gotten that now as your velocity of rebounds. Good. So your initial velocity now is 8 meter per second. Now, when it's rebounding with what? G is equal to what? 10 meter per second square. That means going against gravity. Then, what again? We have our what? Our height unknown. We are looking for the h that you used to what? After rebounds, what will be the height? What again are we need to know there? At the point where it's maximum here, v will be equal to what? 0, because we want to find the h. So we assume v equal to 0 here again when it's rebounding. So 0 meter per second. Okay, what do we do? We want to find our h here. Don't forget that if it's rebounding, your initial height was what? What was initial height? Initial height was 0, abi? Then final height is now what? Final height, this is initial height, h0. Final height, h1 will not be what? Will not be what? H that we are looking for. Are you? This is now h now. Initially it was, but when he landed here, it is displaced upward again. At the point of this point, at this point of ground, on the ground, the point on the ground rather, the h0 is 0. Then at the point of returning at the highest point, h final is what? H. So what we are going to do now is what? Use your v square equal to what? U square minus what? H1 minus what? So that's what we're going to find our height. So what's our, this one, and what will it give us? That was 0. What's our u? 8. 8 square minus what? 2 times what? 10 times. H1 is what? H. H0 is what? So h minus h0 minus 0 is what? H. Simple. It's as simple as that. So this one will give us 20h. Then take it to the other side, become what? 20h. This is minus 20h. When you cross it down, divide by what? 64. Now what do you do now? Divide what? Both side by what? 20. So our answer becomes what? So h will now be equal to what? 3.2 what? Meter. So the answer is what? Look at how close this answer is now. The answers are very close. The first one 3.1, second one 3.0, third one 3.2, the D is 3.3, and E none of the above. So if you are not very careful, if you go and use 9.8 instead of using 10 for those that don't follow instruction, they end up either getting 3.1 or 3.0. So see you in my next video. Thank you.